Streaming. Alright, everybody. Hey, guess what? It is Saturday, July 18th, 2020. And if you're hearing some noise in the background, it's because we got fans. Because, hey, we got brats, too, in the background. But, effectively, it's hot. So, we get fans going. Swamp coolers. And for you really rich people, and I do call you people if you're rich like that, AC units. Either way, speaking of hot, it appears, and it's just rumor that I've been hearing, Kate Brown, the recall Kate Brown signature amount is supposed to be $300,000
by the end of August.
By the end of August, supposedly it's already hit $400,000. Guess what, guys? She's going to have either an option of retiring and facing charges or getting kicked out and facing charges. Either way, we know Ed here is not going to go lightly on her. Ed, why don't you take it away?
Thank you. I'd like to thank you, everybody. And people don't realize how far me and Kate Brown personally go back in politics here. And she helped destroy my family with the other politicians back in the 1990s. So, I mean, and all of it's been there, and all the paperwork's been filed in the court, and everybody keeps telling me that, oh, Ed, it's not criminal, it's civil. And no, because the actions that these public employees have done is criminal. Because when they take away your rights, and they sit there and tell you don't have the right to travel. Now, I'm getting ready to file paperwork that I'm going to have some fun. Because, see, being disabled, you don't have resources, as all these people think that. Oh, you're disabled, you got all this money. Now, I got screwed by the disability system, so now I'm going to start filing on them because I don't have the right to travel. I don't have the right to go feed myself, hunt and fish and feed myself. I don't have the right to basically wipe my ass without asking the state's permission, but I filed on them, and we've got to deal with them, and they keep running around me in town, and I keep running around them, and it's like, it's one of those interesting circles of games. And it was interesting because I walked through town yesterday, and next time I walk through town, I'm going to have to bring some of my flyers with me. But I got a lot of people that are supportive, but they're like, Ed, they're not going to let you win. They're terrified of you, Ed. That's what I hear from the people in my community. Because, I never sold my solar company store. And see, once you cross that realm, you do that, those amends are to be made by you. And so that's the point that we have right now today. It's crazy what's going on. This coronavirus shit, everybody's running around wearing masks. By federal law, it's a crime to wear a mask because you're telling the general public you're a bank robber. Nobody's comprehending this stuff. Oh, they just do me, so I just run off the cliff like I do the next horse does, or the next sheep does, or the next idiot does. And so we are living through this craziness now today. I walked through town and people were like, oh my God, you didn't have a mask on. See, I got lung condition. That doesn't matter. Like, go screw yourself. Because, if I wear a mask, I have carbon monoxide poisoning. I've already got lung disease. So, and this is what shows me how ignorant the general public is because they want you to die for them. And I'm talking about morons. It's like Black Lives Matter. It's another moron racist group. Think about it. Black Lives Matter. I posted this crap over on Will Smith's even page on Facebook. What kind of joking with all the Will Smiths, his black buddies and all this shit. What kind of joke you guys are doing? You guys are the most racist dumbasses on the planet, Will Smith. You go through this shit, man. I grew up with people like you in the Bay Area. We weren't racist. We didn't get involved in this shit. But you're sitting there going, Black Lives Matter? How come Native Americans' lives don't matter? Indians' lives don't matter? Native Americans? Native American does not just mean Indian if you would actually read your Constitution and treaty and learn how to read what the structure really is compared to what you've been doctrinized to believe in the fantasy of your own mind. And this is a disgusting point we're living in. We're having these arguments. Why are we arguing about these things when we're supposed to be sitting respecting one another? I'm trying to get people to put these letters together so we can file them, not only on new.org and trackers, but we can file them through the city, county, and states, and we start doing this, and then that way it starts making a statement. But if people are not willing to stand up, what the hell's the use of you standing up? Because, you know, I mean, we're going to stand up, I'm going to stand up, I'm still going to raise hell, but shit, it gets to me that, oh, I'm a patriot, you're full of shit. I believe in Jesus Christ, you're full of shit. If you believe in Jesus Christ, how come you're not standing up by your fellow man or woman that's going through this? And quit using the word damn person. Person's an inanimate object. Uneducated fools use that word.
Hey. I use person for a reason, or people for a reason. And I believe in the one-horned, one-eyed purple people eater.
You know, you just said something that we got to make sure we get that song one night to play that.
Only if you can get the copyrights to it, or at least get a letter that says we can.
I'll have to work on that one. I've done that before in the past, so we'll have to do that, try to do that again. But anyhow, but I mean, this is the point that it comes down to this circumstances is that, you know, I watch the people that, you know, I mean, I filed for my rights to hunt and fish, and people going, you can't do this, you can't do that, and I keep going, people prove me wrong. And they can't prove me wrong. And then they go through the paperwork, and like, I've been having fun with a lot of people in California. Article 1, Section 10. Article 1, Section 10, and then paragraph 25 of the California Constitution, or California Constitution. You don't need a hunting and fishing license. I mean, I grew up arguing this point with my own family. I mean, you know, I'm 12 years old. I learned how to read a synopsis. I knew how to read. And then when I argued it, and then everybody says, you're stupid, you're dumb, and you have to buy a license, I said, well, shit, what the hell am I talking about then? And then everybody goes, well, you're stupid. And so I just played stupid. Now I'm pissed. See, the thing is that when you step out of these things that are going on around you, this craziness that we're going through with this so-called coronavirus, this was already planned in the writings of the House and Senate. I even have the circumstances that I posted on the Facebook walls that Congress even knew it was done, and this was 11, was that 2010. This was already in the writings back then. And people say, oh, it doesn't happen that way. It's like, people, you got to realize when people pass these Senate and House bills. I mean, we just had Nancy Pelosi's buddy, the black guy, just pass away, a representative. You know, die at 80 years old. He's been in Congress for 50 years, destroying this country. And so they're going to give him a big parade and all this send out for a man that is from a Democratic Party, from the Queen of England Party. You know, Winston Churchill will be proud. But Americans don't comprehend any of this reality. You know, I mean, Nancy Pelosi has never been a woman for this country. She's been a woman that's been paid by the foreign government agencies. You know, that's how her and her husband have made their millions of dollars, you know, in their foundations and stuff. Sort of like Hillary Clinton. And you got to realize, and it's going to be interesting, if Biden comes up with Hillary Clinton running for office as his running mate. Nobody knows his running mate. Everybody's doing a guesstimate. We're guessing. I mean, you know, there was another race in history that did the same thing. Sort of like what happened with Obama. Nobody knew who Obama was. So, I mean, and this is the point. Do you really know what's going on? Obama is from Hawaii. Hawaii is not part of the United States. It's part of the United States Corporation. Title 28, you know. And there's a point that you need to read these things and realize what your administrative rules are compared to what you think they are. And start separating the structure from the actual Constitution compared to what you think administrative rules are. And don't put religion in this stuff. Because the minute you start putting religion into the calculations of this, you lost. You lost when you put religion in. Religion is not supposed to be in the system of the government whatsoever, ever, period, and no matter what, ever. So you have to go by what the structure is, what our forefathers put as the administrative agenda for us. And everybody keeps going, well, you can vote on this, and you can take that away. Well, the 14th Amendment, and if you go to that, and you go to the 17th Amendment, the 17th Amendment, the only ones that can vote on that is elected public school members, public corporation members. Lawful natives can't effectively do that because they're not a part of the corporation, but we've been forced down this throat, have this shit forced down our throat since the Civil War. Because nobody reads or comprehends what the jargon of these lawyers are out there bullshitting us on. Because remember, lawyers still work for the Queen of England or the King, but technically the Queen right now. There's no definition of a discrimination of that. So, and that's the one thing, like I said, I've been posting up the structure with the coronavirus that even came out of New York City, where they even admitted it, where Giuliani is still going with his bullshit. But the state attorney general of New York City admitted that was a fraud. But they got to keep going on with this fraud because they're making money off it because you're gullible. So buy toilet paper, plant food, get all this shit you need together because if they do have a major crisis, you're prepared. Don't listen to these idiots out there that are telling you not to be prepared. We've already done this in history, you know, these people are out there telling the world and they all work for the government and they're the ones stockpiling their stuff. So think about this stuff, what's going on. So it is bizarre what we're living right now, and it's not going to get any easier. We're in a maze right now. You know, I mean, you know, and I've been putting this stuff up dealing with the birth certificate, the bonds, and now I'm getting ready to start writing this stuff up because I had to think for the last couple of weeks in the direction I was going. Because I still have some of the stuff I got to put together of paperwork I'm putting together for a group of people. But I want you guys to comprehend when I put this stuff together, it's going to be public for everybody, but the point is you got to research this stuff too, because when you start realizing what your birth certificate, your identification numbers are, the people say, oh, get rid of your social security number. Damn it, file and own you. It's called identity theft. They gave you paperwork, file identity theft. You claim it, but you don't claim the corporation, you claim the living man or woman. Define the words living man and woman or woman. The whole point is comprehending what these words mean compared to what we're led to believe by these terrorists that are putting this crap in front of us. And nobody's paying attention to what's going on and how we're supposed to save ourselves. And most people don't get it. You know, we posted the structure up on your social security number, so well, we hope you did it. Now I'm going to be putting it together in chronological order for a group of people, and then when I do that, I'll email it out. I know I emailed a lot of stuff, bulk stuff in the last 2 months, and I don't get to define it because the people have been asking me to define it. You know, we can see some of this stuff, but it's overwhelming. Define it for us. So that's the next thing I'm working on this week is I got to put it together and define it. So this way, you guys can see how these things affect you, how your birth certificate, how your bank notes, how your city bank notes work. And remember, your city, county, all right, when you gave them your social security number and registered yourself with the city and county, you gave them authority over you because you gave them a registration of your social security number. You never received that contract, so that's how the city and county could come on your property because you gave them authority. You never rescinded the contract. Oh, you got a water bill. Oh, you got to register. You got to do all this stuff. No, you don't. They lie. That's the one thing. Remember, Christmas is bullshit. Easter is bullshit. It's all by commercial. It's all fraud. It's all lie. It's all about money. The paper conglomerate of fraud. So don't get wrapped up in these things, because if we're getting wrapped up in these things, what are we doing to the children? There's no future for them. So, and then when you do your paperwork, file your paperwork, and you don't have to always file it when you think you have to file it, but make sure that you at least file it in every museum. Museums can only carry recorded records. File it with your Secretary of State. If they want to accept it, make sure it's registered, certified to it, so once they get it, if you have a claim number, it's called a green card, because under, what is that, the title, oh yeah, that's right, you're dealing with a foreign deal under title, executive order, dealing with, it's going to come to me. You got to remember, you're dealing with a foreign agency of Title 1938 Foreign Administration Registration Act. So, and that was put in place dealing with the World War II, Nazi Germany. Was nobody comprehended why it was put in there compared to prior data of the Civil War. But they did put it in place because we were fighting, foreign identity, so they had to justify who was on their soil and who was not. What they call legally. Remember, legally is not law. It is administrative rule. Cops will lie to you. Attorneys will lie to you. Your mommy and daddy, if they work for the government, will definitely lie to you. So don't get wrapped up in these fantasies. Do your research and comprehend what you're reading. And always go for the legal and law dictionary, so that way you can bounce back and forth, so you're learning what the words mean. Like the big push this last week on some of the emails I got was calling everybody, oh, I'm, what was that, a person? And I'm emailing over 3,000 people going, what are you talking about, a person? Could you explain what a dumbass person is? And I said that, can you explain what a dumbass person is? Oh boy, I got some interesting emails back, in response, but it's like, are you claiming that you don't exist? Because don't use the word person. It's either you're a living man or woman. And if you don't put that in your writing or corpus electi, Title 18, 3771. If you're not claiming these things, you're standing. If you're not filing and claiming you're standing, you have no damn right to anything. And stop your damn whining. Because that's what a whining is, complaint. So if you're going to file criminal charges, you file the criminal charges, you file their paperwork called the whining paperwork. All right, so you file their paperwork, but you file the criminal charges on the officers or the public servant involved. You have a right to do this. And that's the one thing. It doesn't matter if all of a sudden everything's dismissed and it goes away. Continue with the charges. Don't be a dumbass. Because if you don't continue with it, it's going to happen to you 5 times more, because they know you're in a computer that says you're a dumbass that didn't have the courage to follow through. Why do these people work? Come on. Step out of the movie. If you're in that movie, wouldn't you do the same? So this is the problems that we are living today. Even with the coronavirus, it's all a fraud on this thing, everything, and we got paperwork now that I've been posting and things that I got from the Congressmen. I told everybody this was going to happen. But now we got so many people being listed that were in motorcycle accidents, that died from being shot or wounded or died in these crazy accidents. Now they're saying that they died in the coronavirus instead of they didn't die from a motorcycle accident. They didn't fall off a cliff. See, they already put the federal state funding together on your birth certificate insurance fund. This is what we've been talking about. Your birth certificate keeps doing, everybody goes, the straw man doesn't exist. All right, let's argue about the straw man don't exist. Who gives a shit? But the point being, on your birth certificate bond, we do know under the Utility Commission how it works. We have the paperwork that we posted up there and how to find your Social Security number and the bonds and insurance and how it works. So we comprehend this structure. And we're trying to get the structure for you to comprehend, because if you don't get it, there's no future for your children. I mean, you guys got to start living in reality. If we don't start utilizing learn how to use these forms to write off our water, electricity bill, and play this game and stay the fuck out of their system. Stay out of their way and let them go kill themselves. Because we don't want to be we don't want to be belligerent. We don't want to be combative. See, I mean, and this is how they're doing it under the administrative rules under the Geneva Convention on you. And people go, oh, that doesn't matter. That's not affecting us. But yes, this is. We're still under the circumstances. Even the military outpost of the Fourth Amendment structure of 1864. You know, I posted this stuff over the YouTube videos. I posted this stuff on my Facebook for the last couple of weeks. And I've been suggesting to people, because I can't tell you what to do. You're your own daddy. You're your own mommy. I'm not your parent. But I can suggest to you about these things, how to read this stuff, or, you know, look at this, and do you get it? And if not, how do we have a conversation? And these are the points that we need to have a conversation about when people are not getting it. Because if we're not protecting each other, it's like these Texas farmers. You know, they had to destroy cattle and food and all this stuff. Now they're realizing how much of a dumbass. Now they're talking about they're stupid because they went through this shit. And now all of a sudden, now they're at the biggest online marketing now they ever had. But why didn't they do that last year? Because they were dumbasses. They said we had to destroy it. We couldn't make our own industry. And like I talked to a lot of those farmers in Texas, I said, why are you buying a business permit? Remember, they told you didn't need one because their business permit, they didn't authorize it. So why do you need a business permit to sell your beef when they weren't complying to their own administrative rules? And that's the one thing. You're nailing with their own paperwork. These are foreign agents from a foreign government. They are not American people. They might live here. They might have been born native 5 or more generations. And if you're 4 or less generations, you're not native whatsoever, and you have no rights in the soil. But 5 or more generations, we comprehend where you sold your soul. So we don't have to deal with you. And then when people turn their back on you, like what's starting to go on right now, that's becoming more evidence to the general public. People are waking up. So, you know, and this racism crap, it gets to me. You know, I'm going through this racism bullshit, watching this shit, and then I'm watching in Portland, Oregon, they destroyed and burnt down the elk that we had up there downtown Portland. And, you know, I'm thinking to myself, Kate Brown, you bitch. They destroyed that elk. How come they're not being charged with federal criminal trespass, destroying public property? That was put up by the taxpayers of Portland, Oregon, and the state of Oregon. And I get so pissed off when these public employees I talk to say, well, it's like in Lincoln County, you know, we have the fireworks that they canceled in my town. And they're like, well, you know, the people didn't pay for it. And it's like, you're dumbass. The people paid for the fireworks in our community for years and generations. The city paid for it too, so did the people. But you got these morons out there who don't comprehend how even a simple GPS, you know, paperwork works. You know, that's what I say. Go talk to Walter Bruin. He'll tell you how this shit works. But see, you got these idiots out there that don't comprehend because they're so televised by their screen that they were that they don't know what real life is. You know, they go to work, they go fishing. They go to work, they go to TV set. They go to work, they go to a TV set. They never think. And that's the majority of people. They're so damn programmed. They're not intelligent enough to think for themselves. I've witnessed it. I've even seen it, you know. But, you know, even recently I witnessed it and seen it. And we're going through the phase. And this is the problem that we have. You know, so I mean, it's like I went around the state last month, and I watched all the new areas that were logged, and everybody's talking about climate control. Well, damn it, you cut the trees down. What kind of morons are you people? You created the environment by cutting the trees down. You created the problems by cutting the trees down. Oh, I need timber, but you don't need salmon. You don't need the structures like Columbia River still leaking radioactive in the river. Columbia River is still leaking by Hanford. We got the ocean that nobody wants to talk about with the radiation that's on the Oregon coast that's washing up and killing our food resources. I mean, it's interesting when you watch these people go down there and you start watch people pull fish up and they got these swords and stuff on the crabs and stuff. But nobody wants to talk about that. See, what are you folks doing about destroying your own livelihood? See, I mean, that's why I always say, plant food. Make sure your city plants food. So if you don't give a shit about that, take some plant seeds and throw it around the city and let food grow. But food grows and nobody knows what happened. Oh, well, too bad. Now you got food. No hunger problem. See, all these things are issues that are solved. There's no such thing as a homeless problem. Shit, I've been what they call homeless. I've lived in trailers. I've made lean-tos. I've done like that in the structure, putting a tarp up and living out in the woods. Been there, done all that stuff. But see, the thing is that, I did it, but it's not what I choose to do. It is nice to have electronics and TV and program stuff around you, and I hate using the word programming. But the other point is if you're not watching what you decide to watch that is not programmed by some computer out there, I mean, when you call up different companies today, it's always a programmed computer. No human voice. And then when they get upset when you start saying, I can't talk to you because you're a Filipino, you're from a foreign country. I could do your business, da-da-da-da-da. I don't give a shit what country you're from. Only morons dealing with you guys. Only dumbasses who are not intelligent deal with this. And people go, well, these people are not educated. They don't get it. You get a phone call from some foreigner who wants your social security number, your birth date, or that shit. You're a damn dumbass. I mean, I've dealt with so many people over the last 40 years on that. Hundreds and hundreds of people, literally. Well, they asked me for this, and I did it, and I'm like, why did you do that? Well, they sounded so convincing. So if I come over and I sound so convincing, you give me $100 so I can take your car out and go for the week and go play? See, I mean, and this is the bizarre stuff we're living, even going on for the last 30 years in our own communities. We shouldn't be living these type of crazy, bizarre times. I mean, I remember the days where we used to go roller skating. Everybody was having a great time roller skating when we were young. Of course, we did outrun the cops, and we played that game, and the cops knew us, and we knew them, and it became a challenge, per se. But people don't get it. We didn't get into the point where we were being assaulted or arrested back then. We all had mutual respect because the cops had more mutual respect for you. Today, the cops are out trying to make a buck. They're not doing their job. They're really not doing their job. But we have to stop this. We're the ones that are supposed to make these changes. So, and that's the point. When you see something going down in your community, audio, videotape it. Make a recorded record. If you can't, write it down. Write the time, the area, location. See, we're the ones that have to police ourselves. And if we comprehend what policing means, we have to police ourselves. Because the police ain't there to protect you. They're a corporation for the city, county, and state corporation. Once in a while, you do get an honest elected and public servant. And when we have elected and public servants who are honorable, my God, we got to give them all the respect and all the support we can give them in the community. Because when they're honoring their oath of servitude, they need all the backup they need. So, and that's the point, that we don't see this. And so we do see that with some of them, and we know how not to yell, scream in the corner so that way they don't get dragged through the mud either, because, you know, it's a tough situation for some of these honorable men and women in their position, because, you know, you got to look at it. That's like the structure that pissed me off when they destroyed this elk up in Portland, Oregon. Like, watching the video, they got pictures of these guys' faces and these girls' faces. How come they're not in jail? You know, how much did the Queen of State of Oregon, bitch, Kate Brown, paid him? Kate Brown, you bitch. How much you pay him? See, that's what gets to me. You know, I mean, Kate Brown, you've been after me for 20 years. So is Peter Courtney, so is everybody else. I mean, when I went up for the records, and you guys kept on taking them from me too, beside other situations that happened over the records that I requested over the years. You know, but at least the original structure of 1846 with the British government called you Democrats. You're the lawyers of the Queen of England who are not Americans. Wake up to this truth, people. 1846 treaty, we have a contract with the Queen of England and the Roman Catholic Bar of the English lawyer firm. Read your paperwork. Quit living in your fantasy. You wonder why you have no freedom if you don't buy the king's gas and you don't buy the king's license, the fees. They'll shoot, pull you over. Sometimes you can get shot, almost beaten to death. I've had that happen to me. You know, I've had the point where I've had to sneak out of the state in the middle of the night when they try to shoot me and kill me. People know that. You know, even the present sheriff of Lincoln County personally knows that. Including the police chief of Toledo knows that because he was part of Denison who tried to have me killed. So, I mean, the stuff that I've posted up and the stuff that I've been putting out in the media over the last 20, 30 years, I've been posting the truth out to these people. Now it's up for you to start standing up to make sure that they don't do it to your family. Because if you don't start standing up, there is no future. This is the end game, folks. You know, we can't go through another 2,000 years of going, oh, God's going to come and save me. God. Well, I hate to say it, folks. Well, where's God? All right, you're going to pray some more. You're going to go down and bow. The only thing that we have, and all right, if you want me to go that route, God gave us the knowledge to use the system that he gave us to protect the bloodline. Even though man wrote it, man saw what was coming down because of what they call God and religious structures. That's why religion is supposed to be separate, not part of the administrative rules. As, you know, oh, and we're going to eliminate the Bible out of the structure like Hillary Clinton and Pelosi and all these other idiots. I believe that the Bible should be there. As crazy as it sounds, because I want these people to swear on the devil themselves. Their devil's book, that's what they want to believe in, that devil's book. I want them to swear in that book. I don't believe in that book, so why should I be forced to swear on something that I don't believe in? But remember, these people are raising it. That's why Pelosi wants to get rid of the book, because she's a Roman Catholic. And if she can get rid of the book so the next generation doesn't have to go through the psychological fear that Pelosi's living right now, that she knows she's not going to go to heaven. This is no heaven. She made over $200 million off the people screwing them. You know, I would love to see the movie project of when, you know, you think about when you go back to the Halloween movie where Scrooge goes through, you know, past and present Christmas. I would love to see Hillary Clinton and Pelosi go through something like that, but it'd be witnessing to watch them see something like that. You know, and then figure out how they're going to live after their own trauma when they see themselves in the own mirror. Well, see, this is the point that either we start living this structure or writing the criminal cases on these people, standing up to these structures that these people are coming after us. And so once we start standing up and utilizing this and unitizing ourselves, because I mean we got people all around the state now. I mean, in the last week we've had over 200 new members of our Facebook pages. Okay, and we've had over 100 new members just in the Recall Cape round. So, I mean, people are getting it. You know, they're knowing who filed the first charges. They know what's going on. And so without this evidence and without you passing it on and standing up on this structure so that way you know that your rights are protected. You have to know your rights because like a good guy would tell me, who gave you your rights? And it was like one of the judges told me, William Carson told me years ago, you know, who gave you your rights? You know, so I mean, this is the one thing that you got to realize: who gave you your rights? Do you have rights or not? So with that, we're going to go ahead and open up the floor. Did I put the producer to sleep?
All participants are unmuted.
So anyhow, anybody else like to throw something in tonight?
I'm here to learn.
Go ahead.
No, I really don't have a question right now. I talked to Deloy earlier today, joined the meeting tonight, and I'm glad I did because I already picked up a few things from you. But I've got a lot to learn. I've been studying my ass off for the last year and a half, and I just cannot fight back. I don't have the skills yet to fight back in these. All
right. So, what is your circumstances?
I'm being attacked on Department of Revenue in Montana, and I challenged the validity of 2 loans. I had a case.
Okay, but did you challenge them in our district court or did you challenge them in federal court?
I'm challenging them in the beginning stages in an administrative process, and I didn't have all my ducks in a row, and they repossessed the camper last July or last May. So I got another year to take them to court if that's the case, I believe.
Right, but you want to take them to federal court, not in Montana. You want to take them, and I'll write this down, District Court of Columbia.
Okay, I'll put that in my notes here. I got it opened up and been taking.
Okay, because see, District Court of Columbia runs all your district courts in the United States. Remember,
okay.
Your Article 1 section of your Constitution is legislative courts.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So you're not going to a Constitution court, you're going to a British administrative court.
Oh, okay.
So that's why there's an Article 3 structure of the Constitution, and that's why the Constitution says that the Republic is the law of the land. And so with the Republic, I can't take you to court unless you cause me personal property damage. If you yelled and screamed and called me nasty names, sticks and stones might break yours or my bone, but names can't hurt us.
Right.
So, and that's the point that most people go through these things that we're going to take it to a legislative court, and it's like, it's interesting because when you go to legislative court, you want them to prove the injured party. So if you're going through that court, who's the injured party in it?
Yeah. I don't know. I would say me.
Right. So that's Title 18-3771. So that means you're the corpus delicti.
Yeah, I did write that down, by the way, and I looked it up while you were talking. I caught that one.
Right. So this is the point when you start catching these things, instead of arguing with these idiots, you know, because I've been arguing with these idiots for years, and I finally got to the point where I started putting this stuff together, and I went, holy shit, how come I wasted 3 years for this stupid dumbass? You know, referring to myself, but I'm just saying, it's like you don't see the picture sometimes before the light lights up the tunnel. Does that make sense?
See, I don't get a chance to talk to people like you that know this stuff, so I can correct whatever it is I'm learning on my own. I just have a lot of the documentation. I mean, I figured if people took my reality and learned from my reality, they'd be successful themselves. But nobody is out there sees it that way. It's almost like, well, I don't have time for you. It's your business. You need to figure it out. I get that. It is my business. But
oh yeah, but then they want you in their business because they can't figure out their own business and their own problems.
Right. And I said, look, I've got information. I think I've got enough information. I mean, I used a lot of it on Capital One for my truck loan. I haven't paid them since February when they repoed it in February. I just saved the money just in case they repo it. I'll just pay it. But I sent them requesting 16 items that I got from Anna Von Wright's group, because I'm part of their group, and I sent them that letter. They never responded back, so I got to send them a note. I think it's a notice of default next. But
well,
I really
it's a know your failure to respond.
Failure to respond. I'll write that down. A notice of failure
to respond.
To respond. Okay.
So, I mean, and that's the one thing that you do, because, I mean, now you comprehend that we've got the structure on the Social Security numbers and that, don't you?
Yes. I tried sending them the acceptance for value, return for value.
No, you do not do acceptance for value.
Okay.
You have to go to the federal IRS forms, and you go by the federal IRS forms and do it.
Didn't know how to do that. What I did was I sent the documents to the General Assembly coordinator, and he used a living law firm, and they sent me some documents. Sent me receipts to send a copy to the Capital One, and then they had sent some documents to the Treasury with it. Supposedly they knew what they're doing, so they had all that information on that. They sent it to the Treasury with no response.
Yeah, but when you autograph your signature to buy that covered wagon, all right, you didn't file and notify them after the point that they already paid it by their instrument. And that is an IRS form. That's part of 1099 and form, I think it's 354, or 35 form. So I have some of this stuff up there, and this is what we've been putting together, so this way we don't end up going to jail like all these other people.
All right.
I mean, you know what happened to Bruce Cassette, don't you?
Yeah, I think it was, I seen this video, Nasara, that said that it was resetting on the 16th. It started resetting. Somebody had put out a video, and they had this counter that's going backwards. I don't know what that was all about, but I mean, I heard that they're in a reset, and they want to, I see Nancy Pelosi wanted to bring a digital dollar in, which of course we know is just more fake money.
That's part of the reset. This is what they're doing off your strawman account.
Well, really? Now that I don't know.
Your birth certificate is a banknote. You know that, right?
Yes, I do know that. I just don't know.
All right, you have my email, don't you?
No, I don't.
Okay, go to my website, Oregon Tracker, new.Oregon Trackers, and click on that, and I'll send it, because I don't like doing my email over. Because, I mean, I'm tracked enough as it is. Because, I mean, I got identity theft filed on everything I do.
Okay, it's Oregon.
New. Yep. Oregon Trackers.
Oregon.
Trackers.
Gotcha.
Okay, and then I'm on Facebook, Edward Johnston on Facebook, and I have a white teddy bear with a red rose.
All right.
Hey, I mean, and see this. I mean, I've been doing this. I mean, I don't know if you comprehend, but I spent at least 20 years in the Oregon State House and Senate.
I didn't know that.
So, I sat there and I watched and I listened and I watched all this shit for 20 plus years. And you think I didn't learn anything from this bullshit that they're playing on the general public? I was just amazed how gullible the people were on a lot of these things. that are going on.
Yeah, we don't know. I'll tell you, when I was woken up last March of 2019, before that I was trying to study case laws and I was looking up stuff. I had no clue what to do. A woman called me up from Texas, spent 4 hours on the phone with me, told me to study this, this, and this. And that's how I got into knowing my rights and looking up Article 1, Section 10, Public Law 7310,
Right.
the RM1,
Did you ever file the claim? Do you know your bloodline? Do you know how many generations on this soil you are?
No, I don't. I actually believe that I may have some family members from Puerto Rico, actually, which I don't know. I mean, I got family members.
But let me explain what I'm saying, and this is for your knowledge, so this way you don't have to publicly say anything. All right? You want to do the research to see if you're 5 or more generations. If you're 5 or more generations, and that's what they call half-breed. You comprehend what a half-breed is?
Yeah, I think
All right, so with that one, if you're 5 or more generations, that means you're a lawful bloodline native. You are not an immigrant. So you cannot be shipped out of the country if you. The only way you can be shipped out of this country if you're an immigrant, or if you committed a capital offense.
Gotcha.
Immigrants have no rights in this country. Trust me, I know I filed in the Supreme Court, and I haven't gone back to DACA after this last old crap they pulled.
I hope I don't fall into that category. Wow.
Well, I filed on the Supreme Court justices. So now that I'm going to do is I got to go make that public now. And see, that's one thing. If you're 5 more generations and you're lawful, you can file on your state administrative judges for their wrong decisions.
What if I don't have those 5 generations?
Well, you have to go through administrative rules then, and you have to file under the administrative rules. Then you have to learn that structure, so you learn how to so that way you don't cross over the shipment point.
Okay. Didn't shipment point.
Well, see, I believe that all immigrants should be shipped out of the country.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, I even wrote bills on that going back 30 years ago. I went through the conflict when my brother-in-law was accidentally shot or murdered. So, I've lived through things that people don't live, and I don't know if you're aware, I died 13 times myself, spent 7 months hooked up on life support. So I've been through things too. But see, the thing is how are we supposed to protect the next generation if we don't protect the knowledge for them to know the knowledge to protect them?
I agree with that. I agree.
And this is the problem that we have, what's going on in our country right now. We got this corona crazy virus shit, and nobody's talking about the solutions to it. Okay? I was out in public, in the last week a couple times. I've had people come up to me and like, oh my God, you need to wear a mask. And I'm like, I have lung disease. And we don't give a shit about what your medical condition is. You put a mask on. I'm like, I'm about ready to hit them with my stick.
I had the same problem in Virginia, Manassas Park, Walmart. One guy walked right in. He says, I got constitutional rights. I don't need you don't dictate me wearing a mask. He walked in and I was there. And the young guy, he was just stubborn mule. He started on Donald Trump and how the Democrats, are the ones that he follows. And I just stood there. I was like, you really don't do any research, do you? I didn't even.
Oh, that's the point. They don't. And I said this to a guy over the day before yesterday. I said, you're wearing a mask, why, aren't you? And he goes, yeah. And I said, why are you being a moron then? Are you protected by your own mask or not?
Yeah.
The guy just looked at me and walked away.
I'll tell you, Edward, I was told that when the masks don't protect you, and 2, I watched a video of a guy that was into health, and he said he had 6 years in medical industry, 6 years in dieting and health, fitness, and he said you can't catch COVID. You can't catch it like a flu or a cold. It's a dead organism. I don't understand this medical stuff, but he says it's foolish that people think that they can catch COVID. So I mention it to people around here, and they just look at me like I'm stupid. And, I really don't know how to explain any of this stuff. So I just deal with what I know. And it's the politicians that keep saying, if a person's diagnosed with COVID and they jump off a bridge, they died from COVID. It wasn't because they jumped off the bridge.
Well, I know they just proved that when a guy in a motorcycle accident died on a head-on motorcycle accident, and they listed him dead of COVID. And they're doing all this because the funding. See, all this shit was written 20 years ago in the House and Senate bills.
Yeah, I heard you say that. Yep.
You know, and I'm trying to explain this to people, and they go, "They don't do that." And I'm like, Jesus, I mean, I spent 4 years reading each and every Senate bill from end to end. And I mean, these senators and congressmen are looking at me going, fuck, you're crazy. We don't even read them. And I'm like, passing this shit on people, and they're going, well, that's why we have you telling us what the bills mean.
Hey, Mr. Ed.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Southern.
Hey, Southern, how you doing? Long time no talk.
Yeah, well, we got to talk right after this call. This is 911, so call me right after this call.
All right.
All right? Bye.
Bye. So, but anyhow, I mean, this is the point that people are not paying attention to what we're really living. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, and that's the point, you know, posting this stuff up, filing your rights. You know, I'm walking downtown, and, you know, I'm watching these people walking around looking at me. Well, you don't have a mask on. I took the bus the other day. I didn't wear a mask on the bus. The city bus.
Yeah. I don't
wear a mask either. And so it wasn't a big issue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and this is the point. We're teaching fear again. I mean, this is what gets to me. Everybody's being more and more taught fear instead of respect and responsibility.
Right. I agree. But I'm surrounded. I mean, in Virginia, it's right next to D.C., Fairfax, and then Manassas. I've been to 32 states. I swear, I think they're infecting it because it's so close that this D.C. and Virginia they're just killing America. D.C. is infecting Virginia with foreigners like you wouldn't believe. I can walk into any tax place, CPAs, all foreigners. I'll walk in there and ask them about the debt-based monetary system. I'll show them documents. They cannot rebut anything I say.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. The tax people got mad at me.
No, then nobody talks to me when I go after them. I mean, even the tax assessor in my own county.
You have a tax assessor.
Well, because, I mean, you comprehend, even Virginia has a constitution with the British government. Don't you know that?
No, I didn't.
All right. Each structure, I mean, because they go by the 13 colonies of Virginia as part of the 13 colonies.
Okay,
read the
now I understand.
Constitution, not the administrative rules.
Gotcha. I didn't know that. So that's the reason why.
Right.
All right.
See, in Virginia, if you're an immigrant, by law, you have to pay taxes, or if you're a church member, by Virginia administrative rules too, if you're a church member, you are to pay taxes.
Oh, wow.
That's why I don't pay taxes. That's why I don't play their administrative rules, because the British government is churches. Because without the churches and the 501c3 through 9 tax write-off, nobody gets a job.
Ed, where can I start reading up on this so I can catch up? Maybe at least get a little bit more.
Yeah, and if you got my email, send me stuff. I'll give you more information. No problem.
Okay, and that's the new trackers.
New Oregon Trackers.
Okay, is it at an email or is it just that's a website?
It's just at .com or .org.
Okay.
So, but anyhow, anybody else got anything they would like to add tonight?
May I?
Yeah.
This is Marshall Meekum in Utah.
Hey,
I haven't heard you for a while. I've been too busy trying to survive.
I know that one.
Yeah. Hey, I seen you on YouTube. You're a pretty big man.
Well, you know, I'm not doing too bad. I just went through 2 months ago having another heart surgery, so.
Yeah, that's the last time I heard from you. That's what you said. I was just going to tell you, I'm LDS, and it's our church just come out and telling us we have to wear them masks too. I'm really upset with it because they know it's just crap, but yet they're making us do it. And I sit there and think I'm not going to do it regardless. And I thought it's kind of funny how you mentioned it's really kind of interesting how all of a sudden the government's got more power than all the religions in the church to be able to control them the way they have.
Well, just the whole thing. People don't realize the religion and the church are the same. And so that's the point, that they're going by religion and church instead of your Indian treaty and constitution rights.
And another point is very simple. The government has more power than the church or the federal corporation. The government is living men and women.
And so we got these people abusing their privileges. And so long as that we start standing up, we can make sure these things get turned around. Does that make sense? Didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I was just saying, everybody says there's 3 branches of government. Actually, there is 4, and we, the lawful bloodline natives, the populace, the living men and women, are the first branch of government. Without us, there is no government. You got to remember that. We have the power if we would stop being divided by the lamestream media, by the politicians, and by all the sheeple out there that want to deal with, do whatever they said.
Well, they're making a living off us.
Exactly. I was just going to say that.
They got us fighting because it's like, I'm getting told, my God, by these people, they're losing their houses and insurance and stuff, and if we don't have this, we're going to jail. And I'm like, why are you going to go to jail? Didn't you file for your rights? What do you mean? So you have to file to prove who you are, because when you go to these administrative courts, you have to know your standing. And I put this in my writing, and I got a letter that I'm putting together with a group of people right now, which I've got to start moving on. Which I have done lately because I've been trying to figure out the circumstances. Because I have a thing that I like living too, you know what I mean? So some of the stuff I do, who might be doing what on what angle? So I got to be realistic in these thoughts myself. That's the one thing people don't get. We have to learn how to protect one another. Most people forget that one.
I agree.
I got to protect this and that. And it's like, what country do you live in? America? Are you on American soil, not land? Air, water, and sea. Air, water, and sea is above the land. It's not soil. Soil you can taste, you can feel. It's like a person is an inanimate object. There's no such thing as a person. When people always talk about persons to me when I talk to them on the phone, this person, that person, I always say to them, even my own family, what person? Who's the person? Why is there a person? What, why, and how is a person? And they're like, just don't be an asshole to me, Ed. I'm just telling you. And I'm like, well, who's the person? I want the name. I don't want to know about a person. A person doesn't exist. A person is not a word to use. You want to use a name so you know who you're dealing with. If that makes any sense, go ahead. Anybody would like to add anything?
Yeah.
Floor is yours.
Well, you're just talking about the church, and I'm curious if Marshall Meekham's a Latter-day Saint, but I would make the argument that government, what we call government, is a church.
Well, we could, but then again, that we would have to say the government came from a foreign country, because churches are not native, they're not American. Because you got all religions that came from a foreign country that put up their flag in the soil and says, now we're going to preach this religion, so now you go by what we say.
Well, yeah, that wouldn't that wouldn't go against my argument that the government is a church. That would not go against that at all.
Well, the government is native, so your religion is your religion, my religion is my religion, so I have no right to tell you how to live, right?
Okay.
So if I have to, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I'm hearing you.
All right, go ahead, may I, and then I'll come back.
Okay, I was just going to say real quick, I think that all our churches got tricked too with that 501(c). They got tricked quite a few years ago, and I don't even think they knew it at the time that just put them right into the government. I mean, it's like the one guy said, they're probably both the same, and maybe sometimes a little worse.
Well, put them into slavery.
Right.
Because remember, they're turning on their own Christians, their own pastors, their own people in their churches. They don't pay taxes. They don't do this right. We're going to make a call to the cops. You're going to jail. So they turned them against each other in their own church. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm not against your thought on that. Okay, but that's where I'm coming from. All this religion came from a foreign country, and I respect that because by the Constitution and our treaties, we have to do that. And I respect that decision. Okay, but the bottom line that I come from, I like hunting and fishing. If I go out and skin a deer or whatever, what business is it of yours that I skin deer?
It isn't.
So if I want to eat, that's the problem. But then you got people say, well, you killed it out of season. Well, I get the point of season because even when I hunt and fish, I hunt during the basic spawning season so we keep our food resources going. Comprehension of intelligent men and women know that. But I hate it when like ODF&W, Department of Fish and Wildlife, play all these people like we're dumb and stupid. We don't know this. You know, and when you go to the Department of Fish and Wildlife and you're going in and say, I'm a recreational fisherman, you just told them you're a slave. You have no rights because a recreational fisherman, you fish for recreation. I'm a subsistent hunter and fisherman. I hunt and fish to feed myself. So it's called subsistence. I have a right to feed myself. I don't have to ask permission from the state corporation. That's like Article 1, Section 10, or Section 25 of the California Constitution says you don't need to have a hunting and fishing license in the California Constitution. But people don't read the administrative rules. And see, I've been doing this stuff, reading it, this is why I keep getting in trouble. You know, it's like the last time I got harassed by the local cops again. Yeah, you just don't know this shit. Do what you're told. Just shut up. Quit stirring the pot. You know, and it's like, screw it. They ran off. They did their deal. They tried to be macho. And my attitude was, screw you. You ain't going to do nothing. But the local around here, I mean, even my local neighbors watched my house being robbed by the cops when I was hooked up in life support. And I get out of the hospital, and I'm like, would you guys write a complaint? I write charges. They said, oh, we're not going to lose our home or our job. So really, when it comes down to your neighbors, who are your neighbors? It is the point that we don't get this point where we're living. So you think you're safe by who, what, why measure? So, I mean, and that's the point, that if we're not fighting with each other, we're supposed to be working with each other, not arguing against each other like they got us doing us right now. I mean, come on, these guys are up there destroying the Portland elk. How come these people are not in jail? You know, I'm going to make a call to Tim Wheeler here later on in the week, and I'm going to call Tim up and say, Tim, he'll allow me to talk to him, because I haven't talked to Tim in 5 years. The last time I talked to him, I bitched him out. But it's like, Tim, how come you're allowing this stuff to happen? Like I said, I spend a lot of time at the Capitol with a lot of these people. I used to go to public meetings all around the state of Oregon, California, and Southern Coast. So, I mean, it's interesting when you look at it and you've been there, and, you know, unless you've been there, you don't know what all these other people like myself or others have done fighting to keep our rights together, but they keep knocking us in the media because, oh my God, if people knew that they had a right to feed themselves without asking permission, what would that do to their hunting and fishing licenses? It's all based on the mechanical issue of you're going to pay me the privilege. That's what I had a relative says, oh, shut up, man, just pay Caesar as Caesar's due and shut up and pay Caesar. I have a problem doing that. So anybody else got something else?
I wanted to mention.
Go ahead.
I wanted to mention one thing that I read. What about D.C. trying to become a state of the union? That
what?
To me is a threat. Washington, D.C. They want to change it to Douglas something. They want to change the federal zone just around the buildings. They want to change the name to Douglas something. I forgot what that was. And the rest around D.C., they want to create that to make it a state of the union.
Yeah, they want to make it a 51st state.
Right. How would that affect?
They want it the 51st state because they're trying to incorporate us under Title 28 of the 3002 British Corporation Act.
Yeah, okay.
All right, because they're trying to incorporate us, and nobody in the general public comprehends it because most people are so damn stupid. Okay, but if they can put us in the 51st state, that means that we are under the Queen of England. We are not part of the Corporation of the Freedom of the United States, Inc.
Yeah, no, that's what worries me. That's why I mentioned it.
Scares the hell out of me. That's why I'm going after Kate Brown so bad. Remember, Kate Brown is an attorney from Spain, and by law, she's not even supposed to be in office. So that's why I filed the criminal charges and the treason charges on her. And if you haven't seen them, go on the News.org Tractor's website, print them out, read them, pass them around, please.
Yeah, I will. Definitely.
Because
I didn't know this.
With that being passed around and read, the treason charges on one of the governor of the Democratic Party, and people start getting that with the other Democratic Party and the rest of the states, people can start opening their eyes. But somebody had to file the real criminal charges, not these talk show theories. And so if you actually read what I filed on Kate Brown, you'll see that I filed treason charges, capital offenses, embezzlement, extortion, theft of public funds. Because remember, when an attorney gets hired, a public pretender gets hired on your court case, and it's a traffic ticket, that's theft, that's embezzlement of public funds, that's mail fraud, extortion of money.
Yeah, well, I've learned a lesson with that. It's aggravating when they do that. I know. Now I understand what's going on. The color of law. Some people say put UCC 1308 on the ticket as an endorsement, as a signature. And
well, you want to put in on that I-207, I-308, and I do not give any of my Constitution or advisory rights up.
Advisory rights up.
You have the right to counsel. Doesn't say you have a right to an attorney.
Gotcha.
When they say, oh, you have a right to attorney. No, it don't. It says a right to counsel. That's Article 7.
Wow. Article 7.
And this is the point that people they miss these points that when it comes to these things that you have rights, but see, when you get pulled over, I sit there, and last time I got pulled over, I was just going through this cop, and he just looked at me. I came out of the woods. That was the second, third time I came out of the woods. And this cop is standing down there, and he's got the gate closed at the woods. And the gate's supposed to be open. And he's going, hey, I want to check the back of your truck. And I said, what the fuck you want to check the back of my truck for? Oh, I checked the back of your truck. And I said, dude. I said, why did you close the gate? It's supposed to be a follow-through. not public land. It's public right of way. It's not public owned land. It's public right of way because we still own the forest here. And he goes, well, Ed, I've never written you a ticket before. And I said, do we really want to start now? And he goes, just let me go open the gate for you, and you have a good day. You know, I mean, I've been through these arguments. I've been there where people shot deer and elk and other game, where they call me up and I fly up around a canyon or something with my video camera. And the cops have got this guy surrounded. You know, and the guy's like, hey, thanks, Ed. And I'm going, shut the hell up. Don't say a word. And I got the video camera running. Ed, you have no rights to be here. This is an investigation. And I said, yes, I'm his counsel, and I'm videotaping for counsel. And, you know, 80% of those times, the cops will jump in their trucks and leave. You know, and so, you know, and yeah, I'm nervous as hell because, you know, guns were pointed around. But I'm telling them, hey, you got a gun on me. And then, what is that? You're a cop, so did you have a license for that gun? Because all cops have to have a concealed license permit to have a firearm. They are not exempt. They have no constitutional rights because they gave that under Title 8 to have their employment.
Interesting.
And so this is the point, reading these administrative rules, how their laws go, so when you talk to these people, you talk to them in their language. And once you start getting to the point where they know that you know what they know, that you know that they know, they just don't, you know. So you want to make sure it's not an argument. You're not going to jail. You're not trying to do all this stuff to do all this stuff. That's why when people sit there and go, well, we're going to teach you how to, you know, do all this stuff, and it's like, do the research before you go file different paperwork. But the main point, file to know if you're lawful or legal in the soil. You file and prove your bloodline going back to 1860, 1890. 1890, that means you're lawful bloodline native. You're not a citizen. That's under the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment was ratified, or no, it was never passed or ratified. The last one that was passed and ratified was the 13th Amendment on immigration. Attorneys, immigration on attorneys. 13th Amendment, read it. If you don't have it, I believe we have it on our website. You can always type it in. There's a lot of good videos on it. But this is the point of realizing of what your rights are. And it's the problem we're fighting today with the coronavirus. I mean, I'm walking around and people like, I'm getting in the cab and they're like, oh my God, you don't got a mask on. And I'm like, dude, man, what are you scared of, yourself or me? You know, and you got to do that to these people. You know, they have a mask on. Are you wearing a mask to protect yourself from me or to protect me from you? So if you have a mask on, why do I need one?
Yeah.
These are simple questions you can ask these people and let them go, huh? Well, you are one to protect you. Why do I have to suffocate?
It's a test.
Go ahead.
It's a test. Will you do what you're told?
Oh, that's the whole point, people. That's the point. People cannot comprehend this. We got a coronavirus that less than 100,000 people actually died from the infected shots that they gave people. Remember, everybody had the coronavirus. Most people had a coronavirus shot, and then all of a sudden people dying. Isn't that what they've done with the flu shots for the last 120 years?
Yeah.
Never take, folks.
Ed,
Go ahead.
what about that one Supreme Court case, Board of Examiners versus Schwimmer, 1957? States cannot license. So police are not actually police because they get their license from the state, and then they're carrying a weapon. If they gave up their rights, how can they conceal handgun license, keyword license, can they carry that if the state cannot license?
Right. Post that up on our website if you would.
Yeah, who, and while you're there, who versus Swimmer? Say that again, please.
What, the one about the license?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Somebody versus Swimmer. You just said it.
Yeah, it's the Board of Examiners.
Board of Examiners. Okay,
Swimmer.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
1957.
So, but that's the point. When you write your paperwork, put these things in it, because, see, if you don't, it's like everybody keeps telling me, I went to court and I told the judge this. And I said, what do you mean you told the judge this? You didn't write your court case before you went to court and already challenged it? He goes, why would I do that? Anybody knows under Article 4 Administrative Geneva Convention Bill, you walk into a court case, you're under administration no matter what the hell you did, because the minute you walked in and shut that door behind you, you fucked up. You had no argument to talk to the judge about because you didn't file it before you went in. See, if there's nothing filed before you went in, and all of a sudden, if you go in and all of a sudden you have no court date, or they postpone it, and then all of a sudden you have no court date and they postpone it, then you file a relief on the court case and it disappears. So, you know, you got to learn how to play their administrative rules too, because they like their job. And most people don't get how that one works at times. Yeah, I've dealt with that with several people. We got things going, and then they want to start pushing it. I'm like, your case was dismissed. Let it go. Because now when the cops pull you over or something like that, you got this case, and you say, now you're harassing me because you're going after me because of this court case? See, it's learning how to use administrative rules back against them. It's that simple. It's a government corporation. It's all mind game. It's all a shell game, you know. If you walk down the streets of Lake San Francisco, you watch some people play shell, the Monte game. Sorry, Monte. So, I mean, and that's what we're living right now today. So, anybody else?
May I?
Yeah.
You know, you talked about these masks being an experiment, which I agree that's what it is, because they already experimented first with the toilet paper. And you've seen where that went. It wiped out every store and everything in the whole country. So they already knew they passed that test. So now they got to do the mask and do their test on the mask. And so what's next? What's going to be their next test?
The next test is going to be in the food.
Or maybe the vaccine. Maybe they're going to force the vaccine.
Yeah, vaccine.
Already done the vaccines. Your next test is coming up. Your food is what I'm telling everybody. Grow food. Collect rainwater. Okay? Because the food is the deal. If you have not paid attention, in 3/4 of the United States, 1/3 of it has had food recalls just mainly on salad itself and spinach. So if you're not paying attention to the recalls going around, including with dog food, cat food, other stuff, see, they're doing this, and they got everybody going in different pieces of their country because they know that you're not smart enough to go on the internet and track your state, this state, that state, and say, hey, what about this animal, this dog food, cat food? What about this spinach? You know, because they know that. And so that's why I suggest grow food. If you got friends and neighbors that can grow food and you know how to can, work with them. You can, they grow food. I mean, if we don't start working together realistically, folks, you know, it's like what they told us in the 30s. They told us it was going to happen. I remember listening to this in the 80s when people were telling us, China's going to own you, and if you don't get it, you're going to be starving. And people don't get it. And everybody goes, well, I'm going to go buy those top ramen noodles for 20 cents now, or what is it, 50 cents now. But if you actually read the structure on the noodles and what they're made on, oh my God, are made of? And people are eating this, you know, synthetic crap. So we are in a devastation in a lot of regards, but we can correct this if we start taking care of our own neighborhoods. You know, I have a friend who can do this. I have a family member who does that. You know, we can work together on these things. You know, and the one thing is, remember, hemp is lawful, not legal. Grow it. You can make a living. Stay out of the commercial industry. Don't be stupid. Don't be a dumbass. You stay and do barter, and you'll live. The minute you cross into their structure, they're going to be at your front door. Learn how the system works. Anybody would like that? Anything else?
May I? I was just going to say a quick one here. Have you guys seen how you got Google on your phones mostly, don't you?
I don't have a cell phone, so.
Okay, but if you go to Google, make up any 3 numbers you want. I don't care what they are, or 4 if you want. Just put it in Google and say like 369 cases. Just put on there and watch what happens on your Google. It will blow your mind. It'll come back with whatever number you give it. That's the numbers it'll come back with.
Well, it's like I got all these people that I know that like, what the hell is that when you talk to that machine? Oh, what the hell is that? A voice machine. Lexus. You know what I'm talking about? Lexus or whatever the hell it is?
Yeah. The one that, the Lexus play this music or Lexus play that or that.
People don't realize that all that goes through is like your Samsung phone, your Samsung computers, all go through Microsoft. That goes to the military switchboard.
Oh, no doubt.
See, that's the one thing. I won't have a cell phone because I won't autograph that contract. I have a landline. If they want to fuck with me, they have to go through the federal court. They can't go through a district court.
Well, I have friends that work out there to the Spy Center here in Utah, and believe me, there ain't nothing that's sacred anymore. They've got everything you can imagine covered, and they not only record everything you say and do, they store it for 100 years. So, 50 years from now, if you become the new commissioner there in town, they'll know more about you than you do. I mean, it's a terrible thing. I'm surprised Utah even sucked into that, but they did.
Well, they did that when they started a contract with the United Nations when they invaded them, and they signed a contract with the United Nations, and that was 3 years ago.
Yep.
You know, and people don't comprehend that. I was bitching about that back then. Everybody's like, well, yeah, it's no big deal. And I'm like, United Nations just came into your city. Your mayor sat there and your county commissioners and your state senators said, hey, we'll take the $1 billion.
Yep.
I know. I publicized all this shit a couple years back. I wrote the deals for the senators back then. You know, it just amazes me. I mean, we got the same thing in Oregon. I've been doing that with Arkansas, Arizona. I've been in Detroit. You know, I've done that, but at least a couple of things in Detroit, I was able to make sure that they were able to prosecute the bad cops. You know, and that's the one thing I want to go after the Ninth Circuit Court again. Because, see, if you're a bloodline native, when a federal court makes a wrong decision, if you're a bloodline native and you've already got filed your paperwork, not administratively to the Corporation of the Indian, I'm talking filing your paperwork in the House and Senate so they recognize you as a native. Because I'm not recognized as a corporate native. I mean, even when I'm running for office, I'm not recognized as anybody in office. I'm recognized as a native running for office. I'm not recognized as a party. I'm recognized as a native. And everybody keeps going, what does that mean? I said, haven't you ever read election laws? Title 17 of the election laws, when they went into effect, that was the point that separated lawful and legal. So, and that goes back to the Treaty of 1840, or the Second Constitution of the Civil War. So, I mean, all this stuff is there in history. So, anyhow, anybody else would like to add anything?
Yes. I want to talk about the food. When we were talking about, they're going to hit us with the food deprivation.
But you have a little louder.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me see if my phone's. Okay, can you hear me good?
A little bit better. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I read something about nanoparticles, the stuff that we're eating. They're trying to put these nanoparticles in our bodies so they can control us, they can track us, they can kill us with it. Is that true? Has anybody read anything about this?
Yeah, but that's going through the actual grocery food feed that you get, like from your salads and your noodles.
Oh,
so
okay.
Anything from China, do not eat anything from China.
Okay.
Because that stuff is actually grown into the food itself. That's like top ramen. I like top ramen, but then when I started reading the crap and I started doing the other research on the line, and I went, holy shit, I'm killing myself. Because ramen I thought was like beef base, and it was corporation chemical base.
So basically, is China, how much food is China bringing over here? What to avoid? The noodles?
Right now, I would say, guarantee you 50 to 60% of the food on the market is China.
Yeah, okay.
That's your dog, your cat food, your flea products, your masks, your sanitizers. And if you want to know what sanitizer is, it's so simple. Aloe vera cream or aloe vera aloe vera gel. And 1/3 rubbing alcohol. Mix it, chuck it up. Now you got hand sanitizer. Don't eat it, but it works.
Now, is the cat food going to be infected?
Yes, some of it is being affected.
How am I going to?
Something that I go through Chewy.com for my dog and cat food.
Okay. So yeah, I buy Chewy. I buy Blue Buffalo.
Well, and also, too, I buy my dog's pain medication from them. It's cheaper for me to buy it through them than it is for the vet. The vet doesn't have an issue with it.
So you think that Chewy is the one that's going to have the safer food, even though, like, Tractor Supply sells the same food that they do?
I say that, but I know their food is not all made in China.
Oh,
gotcha. Look at the label. That's the point, reading the labels.
Gotcha. Okay, Ed. Man, okay. That makes sense. All right. I'm going to start doing that. The other thing, I think I got an article on it from the law group, and one guy sent me a document, and it was vinegar, what is this stuff called? Lemon juice, vinegar. What do I got in here? This apple cider vinegar, I guess that destroys the nanoparticles or flushes your system out. Has anybody read anything like that? We can probably protect ourselves from.
Yeah, I've done read some stuff like that, but I've never tried to do that. I've done vinegar myself, apple vinegar myself. I just take a couple shots every once in a while.
Yeah,
Well, see, I can't complain on it because I got kidney failure 3.
So it cleans out your liver?
So, I'm on the banana peel. They tell me to be on, kidney dialysis, and I'm like, it ain't my time yet. And so, I do different things to help out my system, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. And,
so I have to pay attention to it because I watch what goes through with the meter reading because, see, the doctors want to try to give me this shot, that shot, and all this shit, and it's like, no, here's the way it is. See, I run my body through my doctors. I filed that I own my body because your doctors think they own your body because of the birth certificate, insurance fund.
Do you have Medicaid about that? Because I had to get a double hernia surgery, so I applied in Virginia. Tie me in with those idiots. And that governor.
Yeah, the thing is, when you went in on the contract, did you? I can't sign under duress.
I didn't write.
Why'd you sign it? Sorry, I can't talk. I'm under duress.
Gotcha.
When you you go bear hunting and you're hungry, you got to be smarter than that bear when you're going to eat them.
Yeah, but they make you fill out this application. I went through 3 hours. They asked me.
There, hundreds of times, literally 50 times. I'm under duress. They ain't going to do it.
And we went on for hours. He said, well, it's just for the application. I said, no. You people do not know what you're saying to me. I says, you ought to open up a law book. And we went on for hours. The lady finally, there's another lady that called me after. Can you just write that where you live? I says, I live in America. I'm domiciled in America. And she said, all right. She just put it through. I would not say I reside in the United States. I refused.
No, I do not reside in the United States, nor am I a United States citizen.
That too. I told her that too. I did say that, but they put it through, and I'm going to get off of it soon. I mean, I'm just healing up, and I'm feeling a little better. So once I feel that I'm good, I'm done with them. Because I believe that we can contract with anybody, but they're forcing. They force you into this slavery. They force you into
Well, yeah, but see, the thing is that they put us in a predicament. That's why I filed on my paperwork, because everybody says, file on your birth certificate, get rid of it, it's your enemy. I filed to claim my birth certificate, to own it, because if they're using that number, then that way when I filed to own me, that's called identity theft. They stole my identity. That's a federal crime.
That's what I want to do. I found they won't give me my original. I had wrote to New York. They will not give me my original. Now, I have a copy of an original.
They stole mine out of my home.
Huh?
They stole mine out of my home.
They're unbelievable. And these people are just criminals. It just makes me sick.
My house has been robbed 7 times. I had historical documents that was given to me by different members of Congress 30 years ago. I mean, paperwork that would have that proves what I talk about, bordering on, but that's been stolen out of my house because they couldn't prove that I was right.
These people are unbelievable.
Well,
I
expect it.
I authenticated my birth certificates. I don't know if that helped anything, but I know it's for travel. Someone told me it separates the person from the living, breathing man, because I have 2 birth certificates. I got the short version and the long version. The short version.
Right, and you want to claim you as you and let the living man be you. The corporation, you can control the corporation.
Okay. Unincorporated, right? Or is it a corporation?
You do that in all your letters. You always put unincorporated. Your mail is unincorporated. Even when I put my mail as care of.
I do that. I studied the Bodia. I send mail out with 2 cents.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yep. I do that, and I got that pretty much. I filed an assumed name certificate in Minnesota, so I got that document that says I'm the name holder of the all capital name. But people don't know what the hell that is. They don't understand there's a fictitious name law in every state, and they're in dishonor if they don't register that name, I guess.
No, you don't want to register. You want to own it.
How do I own it?
Register, that means you're giving authority and permission over.
The assumed name, the document, that doesn't mean I'm the owner, or no?
So, anyhow, anybody else got anything else they would like to add? Nothing else tonight? Well, with that, then we'll call it an evening. We'll get ready for next week. Take some of the information down. My email is on new.Oregon Trackers. Get a hold of me. I'll send you some emails. I'll send you what we just put together on the financial paperwork for your birth certificate bond. And
awesome.
And that's the one thing I want to get as many of these copies out so we can start discussing this in the next couple of weeks. So this way we start putting this together, how we can make sure that we're not